Hey guys, Adam Winch here with Defenders USA. Hey, special treat for you. I'm at Haven Defense Co., as you can see right there. Haven Defense Co., and with Brent Hickmon. He's one of my dearest friends in the world. He also is an instructor with Defenders USA, but he's the one that makes all of our incredible holsters. And for thousands of people out there who've been through Defenders, and of course know him through Haven Defense Co. So we're in his shop today, and we're going to take a look around and see what goes into the process of making a holster. And from what I understand, we're going to make a holster here.
Yep.
You're going to, and I'm just going to stand there and look smart, right? Which doesn't happen very often.
Correct.
He's going to make the holster, and ultimately I think the holster is going to be something we're going to give away in a gun course.
Yep.
Okay, so fantastic holsters, and this is for a VP9, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is for the VP9 HK or HK VP9, the new F or the new K.
Yep.
So it'll fit that gun right there, and we're going to make it right here. So let's show you this place, but first, Brent, take it away.
Hey, how are you today? Adam, thanks for coming to our little home-based shop. There is a lot of people who have, a lot of holster makers who have a home-based garage-type shop. But ours may be the more high-tech version. Right?
Oh my goodness.
So this is kind of where I do all the design work. We do and cut all our own molds in-house. I design them. I'm very picky about the fit, form, and finish of the holsters themselves. So I use Fusion 360 to design the molds themselves, and then we'll cut them on our big Bertha CNC machine that we've got in this little shop. And then further down here is where our molds are. That's our storage, right? And then we have our forming station here.
Hey, you called this Big Bertha. Can you open this big old hunkin' door so they can see what you're talking about here? So look at the electronics over here, right? Some pretty fancy stuff. I don't understand it.
Yeah, we're not turning it on because it's kind of loud, so we're trying to get a video. So all our molds are vacuum held here on this vacuum chuck. We have some other fixturing in there that we do some other stuff with. This will eventually be being used to cut our own competition aluminum drop mounts. Those are still in the process of getting designed. So, but right now it's all mold work.
Hey, before you go any further, so if you notice, he just talked about their own competition drop mounts. So think hangers that goes on guns. And it's something that can go to law enforcement holsters, right? Yep. Competition holsters. So it solves a couple problems within what I'd call the hanger world, or where you mount the holster to the belt itself. If you're wearing a competition rig or a duty belt, it solves a very unique problem that I think I've not heard of before, and they're going to be making it right here. So that's upcoming.
All right, so when the forming is done here, when we're done with this little intro of everything, we're gonna actually do a time-lapse video of pretty much the whole holster build that you'll be able to get later. Mold storage here. Sometimes we used to cut molds on this guy. It's called a desktop CNC machine. It's actually a tool-changing CNC machine. So I got tired of collecting all the chips and having to vacuum it up every time, so we went ahead and got the big one. But sometimes we cut some trims on this, but
let's see your molds.
Yep, so these are our molds. These guys we're slowly converting to what is called compression molding. So this uses a positive and a negative mold to form your holster shell.
So they go together like a puzzle.
Yep. And this heats the Kydex up to about 355, 360 degrees. And then it gets formed in here. Or we got a bigger one here for some stuff I'm working on for light bearing options that needed a bigger footprint. And then we also still do stuff old school, which is vacuum formed here. The VP9 holster you're going to be able to get later on is going to be formed on this mold, old school vacuum formed option. And then run through here. This is our little drill press we got. We drill the holes that are appropriate, right? And then we will use our trim jigs to basically hold.
Can you hold that up to the camera so they can see the detail of that?
So this is the basic shape. So,
and you made that?
Yep. We made this on the CNC machine.
Okay.
And
what's that thing?
It uses a bearinged router bit, kind of like your basic woodworking style stuff. Turn this on, it trims the Kydex in the right shape. And then we come over to this section here, which is our sanding and buffing area. We have some shells of stuff in process on this cart, right? Shells in process on this side, and then assembly happens in this corner, and then shipping starts ends where we started. So on our little computer over here.
Hope you don't have any bad things open on your computer.
Never.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
we're gonna go ahead and build a complete holster from start to finish.
By the way, do you mind telling them a little bit about this, right? This red holster right here is one that he made for me for an HK VP9. So
Right,
that's
so
one he
this
made.
is one of the first iterations that we've been doing on our compression mold. So normally there is an embossing of the model here, but he uses a wedge of some sort, so that got covered up with some Velcro.
And then this holster.
Like this, right? This is a new holster we're working on. We're not going to give too much details on it yet, but it's going to be a light bearing holster.
Okay, let's take a look at your sign real quick. So Haven Defense Co., quality holsters for the defense of life, and havendefenseco.com. All right.
All right, so
Okay, what are we doing next?
we are just going to go ahead and start building, and from start to finish, and we'll be able to give that away in one of the next Defenders classes, which will be probably decided a little later.
So I'm going to just follow him around, right? Looks like the camera's a little off-angled. I'm going to follow him around, and we're just going to see what he does. I have no idea. I watched him make some of this before, but never at this detail, and his shop is just incredible now. So it's changed since the year I've been here. I was here last year, but that's been it.
It's been a minute. So this stuff I just trim off because it's a little bit too
And what kind of
much.
Kydex is that?
It's Kydex T.
It's a multicam. Can we see the
Yeah,
pattern?
we're gonna do multicam because everybody wants to have that multicam pattern. It's licensed multicam, so and it's done on 0.093, which is the thickness, which gives it a little more longevity over time.
So tell me
And
the
use and
difference
abuse.
there, right? Or tell us. For me, I find your holsters are more durable than others because they're like a tougher material. When you said 0.09 whatever, does that mean it's a better, thicker material than the average
Yes.
user?
Well, more and more people are going to the 0.08 or higher. I don't use 0.93 for inside waistband because that's just a little bit extra bulk.
Okay.
So it makes the Kydex thicker, right? So,
But if it's an outside the waistband, you do.
yeah, for outside the waistbands, I definitely use 0.093. So if you took a caliber on here and measured the thickness, that's what your 0.093, 0.08 is your standard for most.
So for the end user who are math challenged like I am,
Yeah.
it just means better,
Thicker.
more durable.
Yeah.
Okay.
For math challenged. Trust me, I'm math challenged. All right, so I put this. This is basically a t-shirt press. It's what most makers use nowadays. They used to use like a little toaster oven, but nowadays everybody uses these Geonite is pretty much the top of the line.
Dude, can you make t-shirts for Defenders?
Talk to my wife.
No.
Right? So then this gets set preheated at 380 degrees. It's higher temperature, but these platins inside of here are the most, what's the word that I'm looking for? They're the most dense, so they get the best heating, right? So we set this down, press it on. This is just basically your
Like wax paper.
wax paper, but it's not wax, it's just parchment. Because some of these printed Kydex will actually infuse the ink into the pad, and then if I have to do a lighter color on top of that, it actually gets put into the color I'm not wanting. So I found out that this little bad boy is pretty awesome for doing that and keeping them from bleeding into anything else. So this takes a good 2 minutes to heat up properly. Usually it ends up about 370, 360 degrees in the on the Kydex itself. And then I'm going to go ahead and put it in here and vac form it with basically neoprene foam.
Why?
Because that is what forms the actual holster.
Oh, okay.
Right, so the Kydex will be in between that, and it'll get sucked down. So the reason eventually more and more of our molds are going to be switching to the compression is, one, I can use a little less material, and two, I get more consistent definition and more consistent retention. So that helps in the long run for all sorts of stuff. And as you can see, now it's pretty
Flexible.
pliable, but that doesn't feel too...
Okay, so while you're doing that, I want to show you guys something here.
Because it's thicker, that's why I got to add
So
more time.
he also makes these little, what do you call them?
Dump trays, ammo trays.
That's not true. He calls them crap catchers,
Crap catchers.
right? Because they catch all your crap. So you can
Yes.
throw your keys in there, whatever else. And you can do it for other companies, right? You've done it with the Defenders USA logo.
Yep.
You've done it with others. And so right now he's got the Haven Defense Co. logo in there, right? But if you want your own logo done, basically if it's done in Kydex, you can do it.
Yep, pretty much.
Okay.
The fun thing about these is that my wife and I have figured out that we can actually use them for ammo loading. Right? You just dump your box.
See, I need to carry one of those around.
Yeah. So you dump your box of ammo in there, up you love, whoosh, just fill them.
Bingo.
Right. It's thicker Kydex, so I like to add a little bit of extra time on that.
Okay, we're in the process of making a holster.
Yep. So there's a vac pump under here that's piped up into the bottom of this, and I have it set on a little switch. Sometimes the fan here will help cool it, but when I'm using the foam, it doesn't really do that big a deal, or that much more
So
cooling.
is that foam basically to seal out air, or
Yep.
is it? Okay.
So vacuum is funny. So technically, vacuum pressures is actually outside pressure being pushed down, because the air pressure from the inside is actually getting pulled out. So that's why on the CNC machine it can hold a mold, because it's, I can't remember the exact number, but it's like 1,200 pounds or something like that per square inch of atmospheric pressure pushing down. So that's what some people don't realize about vacuum pressures, is that it is actually atmospheric pressure pushing down, not air getting sucked down. So, still a little warm, but we have our indentations in here from where I want to drill everything, and then I'll throw it on this trim jig and cut it to the shape I want. I'll turn this off for now, so I'm not using up all that.
With that camouflage, you can't see the distinct lines as well.
Right, you cannot.
It's camouflage.
It's camo.
It's camo.
You could barely even see the holster.
Yeah.
So, gotta air this off a little bit, or not air it out. But.
Okay, so what are you doing now?
So now I'm gonna go ahead and drill where these indicators are, so that all the holes are where they need to be.
So that you can mount a hanger to it.
Yep. So you can, well, your retention spots here for your adjustable retention, and then your Blade Tech or Safari Land mount will go on here, and it'll fit pretty much any mount that's on the market. But we use a lot of Blade Tech because we have a dealer set up through them.
So while he does that, so I've been running Haven Defense Co. holsters since, how long's it been?
Well, we've been doing business for, I think, 9 years now.
Yeah, we've probably been doing stuff for about 9 years. Right, Brent just showed up at one of my classes. I think as your wife did, right?
So Marissa signed up for one of your concealed carry
So
classes.
his wife signed up for one of my concealed carry classes 9 or 10 years ago.
And then she said,
And she's just dumb enough to talk the husband into going, right? He's dumb enough to come. And bully for me, right? I mean, it turned into an incredible, beautiful relationship, a friendship. And I love this man like my brother. And Marissa is just incredible. And they've now taken this, they take this and they do this full time. And been successful every year. And I'd say thousands upon thousands of Defender students now run Haven Defense Co. holsters. And we're slowly but surely seeing high-end competitors, some bigger names in the industry starting to use these things. Why? Because of the quality. So I want to give you my stamp of approval on this. I've never seen a company so moldable to what's better and better and better. Brent's constantly giving me holsters to go T&E, right? Test and evaluate. And I'll find ways to break them, to bust them, to destroy them.
So the new light bearing, hopefully we'll fix that.
Yeah. The last couple holsters, last 8 or 10 holsters you've made over the last couple of years, I've been able to break, right? If you know me, right, I'm rough on my stuff on purpose. And I want stuff that can stand the test of time and be durable even under extreme stress. And everything I found, one, is high quality, lasts very, very well. And I've found I can rely on it. Not only that, it's made by one of my very best friends. And if I can somehow encourage you to look into Haven Defense Co., buy their stuff. I mean, their crap is better than almost anybody else's, I think. And I've bought
maybe
some
the
of the
best
others.
crap you can find.
Maybe the best crap you can find. I've tried a lot of the holsters out there. There's a lot of good ones. This is absolutely in the top tier of the best stuff out there. And you're supporting a small family, a small business, and they do this full time. And they're just the best of people. So anyways, while he's getting going, I just want to add to get Haven Defense Co. holsters.
Yeah, and part of our thing that sets us apart, I think, is my constant willingness to make our stuff better, but also our customer service is pretty dang good, and also, more importantly, our warranty.
Tell us about that.
It's pretty much a lifetime, right? If you crack it, I'll replace whatever is broken.
I've broken a couple.
Unquestionably.
Yeah.
Right? Free of charge. So I just sent out a holster for somebody who it seemed like they tend to wear their holster without the gun in it, right? And that will, I would recommend.
So if you wear appendix without your gun in it, right, there's a lot of pressure that's going on. And as you move around, you tend to break the holster. That's how I've broken them. I get really dynamic and stuff without the gun in the holster, rolling around, flopping around. And I've cracked some of the older models, to which point he's made a lot of reinforcement and fixed it.
Right.
So,
but over time, this flexion here will end up probably cracking right here. These are cut for red dot optics and to be as comfortable as possible. There's some people who have a lot of rigid type edges in their angles and stuff. We don't do that because it ends up poking and being uncomfortable. So that's one thing that sets us apart too. We try and contour our lines so that they're actually comfortable, not cool looking, right?
Well,
even though they're pretty cool looking.
Well, let me step out of the camera. I'm just proud we're getting to show you off here.
All right, remove my
No, give me that.
coffee here. All right, so this is a little bit big for immediately going to the trim. So I always do a general trim line around this on the saw. That is until everything's set up to be trimmed on the CNC machine. So then we'll probably have actual holsters in stock. But for now, safety first. In the bin. Good to go. Turn that off.
So if you chop a finger off while you're doing that next time, I'll give you a whole $1. Just one finger for $1.
Just $1?
Yep, just $1.
One finger, $1.
A whole $1.
Up by 50 cents. 50 cents. So, from there,
So that was using a mold.
Yep, this is using what we call a trim jig. Same, it's basically the mold, but trimmed to the shape that I want it to be in.
Okay.
Right. That's what all these are for other options.
By the way, I don't have a multicam holster like that. That is so cool.
We'll fix that. All right, so then we're going to go over here to my little buffing station. I still have this here for older molds that I don't have trims for that aren't a big seller. I still offer certain things that I don't need trims because the demand's not that big a deal, so I just do it by hand. Safety first, because plastic will kill you. Vacuum coming on.
Okay, so what does that do? Explain that again.
So the buffing, when you trim holsters in plastic, they tend to have sharp edges on both top and bottom. So we buff this out so that you're not cutting yourself, or not cutting yourself, but eventually over time, if you're drawing from these holsters that are sharp edged, you'll get nicks. And
so you're smoothing out the edges, rounding it out.
Rounding it out, and also trying to make the edges of it a little bit more visually appealing.
Gotcha.
We don't buff to a like shiny stuff, anything like that. Like some people,
but skin friendly.
You're gonna not see it after about a month of using the holster anyway. So we usually buff to them like a matte, but as long as it's smooth to the touch, we're good to go.
Okay.
I'm gonna actually cut this after a minute here to a different shape right up front, because that trims what's called an ambidextrous trim. So
so now you have to rebuff it.
yeah, that part. I forgot I like to do that. There we go. Simple.
Let's see.
And then I just take a little airbrush or air to it and blow off all the dust.
So how many holsters can you make in a day?
I will recruit the help of my kids and wife.
Child labor, slave labor. Good for you.
So it just depends. If order influx is pretty low, I usually just do most of it by myself. I can usually crank out 10 to 15 holsters a day without help, right? But that's kind of a long
When
day.
you guys are rocking and rolling, how many a day can you really do?
Probably third. Well, last time we were at AGAG, between all of us, we did like 50 some holsters between building on site and selling what we had. So probably 30.
So if you notice, he said AGAG, right? That's a acronym for A Girl and a Gun. It's the largest ladies shooting organization in the world. And they have close to 7,500 or 8,000 members right now, and they're constantly growing. So they have a national conference in Grand Junction, Colorado, which, by the way, he's in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, so it's only about an hour away. And he helps teach at the AGAG conference. On top of that, he makes or fixes a lot of holsters that are there. Because there's a lot of holsters that come in from all these different manufacturers that don't fit what they're supposed to do. So Brent fixes those, but on top of that, they're making holsters right and left for these ladies because they see the quality that's there and they want something really good. So you're doing it right there on site.
Yep, as much as we can. Last year we didn't do too many like randoms. Most of them were emergency holsters that took up my time, but if I have the time there and it's just hey, can you make this? Because I don't need it, but you're here.
But I want this, yeah.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
And you guys were knocking out 50-something holsters a day.
Yeah, that day.
They were exhausted. At the end of the day, I mean, you could tell his wife, his oldest son, he had to work like dogs that day. I was so glad I was busy doing something else because I felt obligated to help him.
We recruited.
Okay, so, what are we doing?
A lot of our stuff is going to our 3D printed folders here. Yeah, I'm in. This is for a 365 macro. We've got one here for...
That's a SIG. Let's put that away.
I know. I've got one here for HK VP9 P30 P2000.
Okay.
Some of our molds fit all three of those, the newer versions. So... but oftentimes before the 3D printer came along, which is in the house office, we fold on real steel and test all our holster fit and retention on real guns as well.
Which means you have a really good excuse to buy a lot of guns.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't even have to ask the wife. You can do it as a business expense, right?
Exactly.
Boom.
She's like, hey, do we need a new gun? So, but I generally stick a piece of orange paracord in there when I'm using them as tools for folding, just so I know 100%, and my wife knows, and my kids know 100%, it's safe. It's barrel locked all the way through and orange taped on top.
So that is a VP9F.
Yep. No, this is an old VP9.
The old VP9, okay.
Zero.
VP9A1, okay. And you've taped it off with a bunch of tape.
Yep, actually just 2 layers so that it's not too thick, because if it's folded too thick, you get a lot of slop in your actual holster fit. Okay. So this over here is basically it's a hot piece of metal inside of here, which actually it's called a strip heater. It's designed for actually folding like plexiglass and such, but we also use it for kydex. Hello.
Bloopers.
Yeah, right. So this sits here for 20-30 seconds depending on, I did just turn this on recently, but if it's super duper hot, it takes
so there's heat coming out of that channel.
Yep, so right along here. And if we get super busy, you can fit like 3 shells on here.
So that's what a holster is called, a shell.
Yeah, this is what it is. What we refer to it as a shell. Like you can get Filster Enigma ready shells from us too, right? So
if they want to get the Filster Enigma,
yep,
just the chassis system itself, you can put your shell to it.
Yep.
And that's what I do, right? I really appreciate Filster. I've actually gotten some holsters from them recently, and multiple Enigmas, and I absolutely love letting my students use them. I carry an Enigma, Filster Enigma with a Haven Defense Coast shell on it, and absolutely love it. Okay, so it's getting more flexible in the middle.
Yeah.
So now you're folding it into the full holster.
Basically reheating the plastic. That's why you don't want to leave your kydex holsters up in your hot Arizona, dash and any of that, because it'll eventually deform and melt. It's not gonna like totally melt it, right? But the fit will be affected.
Stop talking bad about Arizona. Smart people don't live there. I do, by the way. It's only like 116 degrees there right now.
It's not too bad. But I mean, even in Colorado, when it's 90 degrees out here, is still going to be 100, 105 inside the car there.
So if you leave your holster in a hot car, it can somewhat deform it.
Yep. So I would recommend you don't do that. Besides, your car is not a holster anyway, right?
Boom.
So that seems like a good malleability. So I'll take this. Oh, blooper again. Dang, man.
Good bloopers.
You'd think I'd be good at this by
We
now.
love bloopers.
So then I can just hold on to the slide portion and the trigger guard portion, and I will point it at myself, but it's in a holster and safe to make sure that the sight channel is as relatively even as possible. Put a little air on it and just sit and wait. Sometimes if I'm super busy, I'll just clamp a couple of spots with this kind of thing here. Clamp it there, maybe clamp the top slide. Eventually maybe I will end up getting a one cell. These are printed out. I'll get a little jig to set them all in as we go along.
So just checking again, this is for HK VP9.
Yes.
Let me get a shot of your hat.
It will, yes sir.
Boom.
HK VP9, it'll fit VP9s all the way to VP9 match. So, and then we're gonna just go ahead and throw it on a Blade Tech mount attachment. Eventually, when we get our hangers finished up, and we have to do a bunch of work for putting them on the CNC machine, right? But these will mount right here to that. And that's good enough. Right, so I'm gonna step over here. This is where I keep all my plethora and array of hardware that I need for everything.
Nicely organized.
Sometimes it gets a little messy, but that is life, right? So we're gonna put this on. Gonna put what these are called. Where is it?
Some kind of spacer.
Yeah, these are posts. They go through the backside of your holsters. Then you got your screws, right? And then a 80 PM, I believe that's the type of material it is. It's kind of a rubberized rubber or squishy type rubber in between that and the mount and the holster. This might be easier. Just grab me. So I'll put the post through, and then that actually helps hold the post inside until I get everything screwed in. Get another. So while this is out, I'll explain this. Some people oftentimes are like, what the heck, how do I work this thing? Because it's designed for law enforcement type uses or competition type uses where you don't really want the mount to come off. What you would do is actually flip this down.
So it's a locking device.
This is your locking device, right? But it still doesn't open. You have to squeeze these two tabs in. It's easier with a holster. Squeeze those in, and then that flips out.
We have the exact same thing on our tasers for our duty belts.
Yep. So, but that's how you access the screw joint points anyway. So I got to open it. So then, go over here, get 3 screws. See, I have my little dump tray here. Useful for holster.
So they can buy those dump trays at havendefenseco.com?
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes we give them away.
Make them buy it.
It depends on how big your order is. Hint, hint. Or repeat customers. Sometimes repeat customers get a little surprise from us.
So I've got one you made for Defenders USA in the Defenders Blue.
Yeah.
And that's my dump tray, my crap collector, crap catcher, and it sits on in my office. And that's where my wallet goes, my keys, my knife, my spare mag, everything. So I go right to that every day, and that's where I pick up stuff to leave the house.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome. And then I will throw in these bushings that are a little bit thicker under the trigger guard for adjustable retention.
Can you show us from the side real quick?
Yeah.
There you go.
So
Do that again.
This will go in here.
Gotcha. And based on those bushings, you can tighten or loosen what you need to for the gun.
So the spacing in the mold system, or the design in the mold, is actually a 1/4 of an inch thick or space, and then the bushings themselves are a 3/8 bushing.
Okay.
So you get some tension on there, which you want.
Which allows it to click in.
Yep. Well,
Either to tighten it or to loosen it.
yes, but it also, you want a little bit of the bushings to be a little bit wider so that you actually have some tension pushing against it on the screws themselves, because that helps keep everything from just undoing and coming apart on you. Let me use this as a PSA announcement for for consumers. Some type of thread lock on your adjustable holster.
What kind are you using?
I use Vibratight, but you can use
Hold
blue.
up, stay right there. Let me get a good close up of this.
Vibratight, thread locker, high strength. This stuff is a little bit.
I don't know if you can see that because of
specifically
the
designed.
lighting. Let me hold it this way.
Maybe so.
There you go. Now I think you can see it a little bit better. There's less light glare on it. There you go.
That or your standard blue Loctite works too, but this stuff tends to. I get this from our holster supplier manufacturer, so it tends to be a little more capable of flex and abuse, right? So when you're going in and out of the holsters, it tends to flex a little bit, so that also gives it some capacity to actually be tightened and loosened a little bit. So I tighten that down, and as you'll see here, I'll show you. See how the bushings now tend to kind of squish out and get a little bit wider because the bushings were thicker. And then,
Bingo.
bingo.
So we have a completely made holster now.
It is complete.
So let me see that real quick.
So then you can adjust with a regular screwdriver. I'd always recommend a little bit tighter on top, or sorry, a little bit looser on top than the bottom. Usually gives you a good retention and holster, but it actually is an easier draw. You still get
Let's hear that click in. Nice.
Still get the click, but the draw is pretty effective and smooth.
Okay, so holster here. You've got the belt mount there. Can you pull that gun out for me real quick?
Yep.
I want to just do a good full view on that holster.
There you go.
Thank you. Okay, so notice the inside. The inside of this holster is light, which I'm a big fan of, because that means when you look your gun down into the holster, you can see that there's nothing inside there. There's no clothing, shirt, fat gunk, hair, anything there. Beautiful multicam, if you're into that kind of thing, which I am. You can see it there. And then, of course, a very solid Blade Tech belt mount. There's spacers, if you can see them, about where my thumb is in the belt mount. So if you have thin belts, you can move them up so it holds on better. If you have thick mounts, you can move them down or take them out so it can mount to your belt, whether it's anywhere from 2 inches. Does it go 2 inches or even bigger? I think it's 2.5.
Just 2.5.
2.5 all the way up to almost 0, right? But just a beautiful, beautiful holster. So this holster is going to be something that's going to be given away.
Yep.
In a Defender's course. And what's that you got now?
This is another option we offer for a drop leg from Blade Tech also.
Okay. So you can do a drop leg on here, and notice it's got the holes to put, notice it's got the holes to where you can put a leg leash if you need to. Yep. You can cant it, you can move it around, and very rigid, very solid.
The same hole patterns, right?
Okay.
These are super good for AG girls. Purchase these a lot because they got the shorter torsos, longer arms, and it just tends to help them draw better. So that's what we got. So it's a complete holster from Haven Defense Co. in our little shop. But thank you again for watching.